foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds. In the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Just want to go into in transit, just speak on, prophecy, okay? Because when you look at, what's happening in the earth, it's likened it to the Most High is shuffling cards. When you go into prophecy, you see certain moves being made, okay? Whether it's economical, okay, military, social, disorder, okay? Regime change, coups. All these is the Most High shuffling cards, And when you're familiar with, playing card games, whether it's, poker, spades, whatever, once the cards are shuffled, every time you get a new hand, okay? And you gotta try to make the best out of whatever hand you got. Even simpler games, even if it's in Uno, okay? Each game, the cards are reshuffled, okay? And you get a new hand, and you have to play according to the hand. And see, when you go into prophecy, the Most High is the dealer. He's the one that shuffles the cards. Okay? So each round, everyone that's a player in the game gets a new hand. And you got to make the best, okay, out of the hand that you got. And this is what we're seeing happening with these nations. As Esau, Edom, he's trying to establish his new world order. The devil trying to move, things around. Because you look at, also too, dealing with Esau, this man trying to establish his new world order. He's trying to topple, the remaining governments that he wants to topple, especially these governments that are very heavy in resources. So there's certain governments that he wants to completely topple as he's establishing his new world order, and he wants to put his people in position. Okay? So Esau, on his end, because it's like Esau's playing the game within the game. Okay? Because it's ultimately it's Most High that's controlling the chessboard. And the elites, okay, are a piece on the chessboard. They're being moved around as well, according to the will of the Lord. But then you have to look at it, it's like the elites playing the game within the game, where they're trying to set up certain people in certain regions of the earth, certain parts of the government, to transition this thing into a new world order. Okay, that's why you see, these different places that are, highly, that are highly, rich, that are rich in resources. It's become the subject of these devils' conversation. And you gotta understand, these devils have a lot of the earth in their pocket. These elites have a lot of these government officials, okay, and leaders of these different nations in their pocket. Some more than others. And then there's certain key areas, where they want to do regime change because they want to put one of their own, okay, in their region, because the new world order is going to look different in every way from this current world order. The new world order that they want to set up, they want to change the map, the way things are zoned out, certain regions and countries and Okay, because what they want to do is consolidate power to a central power. Okay, and all these little countries, well, they need to be consolidated into regions. Okay, and they want to set up to where, they're middle management, because you go into, these presidents, prime ministers, and this is nothing but middle management for the elites. Okay, and as they're transitioning into a new order, okay, any government that has any resistance to the full plan, because you have nations that partially agree, you got nations that, because see, the elites ain't in 100% control. You can't think that the elites just got everything, figured out, that they in full control. No, only the Most High is in full control. Okay? Now, these devils, they have a lot of authority, and they have their hands in everything that's happening in the earth. Okay? But they're not in 100% control of everything. Okay? There's a lot of, holes in this man's system. And all these nations ain't 100% loyal to this devil. Okay? That's why the scriptures speak about the treachery. When thou, cease to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with you. When thou cease to spoil, they shall spoil you. Okay? So you best believe there's going to be a lot of double crossing and triple crossing. Alright, as these devils get closer and closer to trying to establish a new world order. And that's why you can't separate the closer they get to this new world order, the closer they're drawing to war. Okay? Because these devils ain't in perfect agreement. All these nations ain't in perfect agreement with what these devils are doing. Okay? And these devils, they're trying to, lock down this new world order, and they trying to move these pieces and, topple, these governments. Okay? They're trying to, consolidate these resources, consolidate power. They want to carve out new regions of the earth, because now you have these corporations. Okay, these corporations want to, what you call digital colonization through these corporations. Okay, that's why you have a term, capitalism, what you call capitalism, which is, we went over the other day, called predatory capitalism. Which is a system where the few elite corporations, they prey. Okay, they manipulate the markets. They manipulate the environment. They manipulate the demand. They monopolize, industries. And they make a prey out of the masses. So now you have this term predatory capitalism, but it's done morphed into what they call techno-feudalism. Okay? To where you have these corporations that own, the digital space in order for people to operate in, to buy and sell, to run businesses. Okay? If they made things, very, convenient, through the internet, through these digital platforms. Okay? But in order to, deal within these platforms, you got to go through these technocrats, man. Okay? Google, Amazon. Okay? You want to deal with this gig. They got this thing what they call the gig. The gig industry. A lot of these companies are subcontracting out, their labor to the gig economy, and it's called techno-feudalism. Okay, and as these devils are buying up, hoarding are taking all the raw resources, okay, and they're putting it all in a digital space. Even with the grocery store, the grocery store is turning into a digital space, okay, to where you got certain companies, I believe it's out there in Connecticut, your grocery stores on the East Coast, all right, to where now they make it to where you got to identify yourself before you can go shopping. So they're making everything digital. Your grocery store experience is digital. Okay, to where you got to be on the digital grid to participate. And that's what you have to call the techno lords. Okay? So this new world order is going to be a completely different order than this old world order, man. It's going to be more tyrannical, more controlling. Okay? You're going to have less, privacy. Well, you're not going to have any privacy. Okay? This man trying to tap into your neural system, man. Your brain. You see? So what we're seeing the devil doing is he's trying to put everything in order. He's scrambling, and this devil has a hell of a test. Okay? And what's happening is he's trying to set up his new world order. The Most High is constantly reshuffling the cards and giving this nigga a new hand. You see certain cards he don't got anymore. He done played, like even with dealing with what's been going on with the small hats, America and Iran. You see, this nigga done already about used up all his gimmicks. Okay? He done did the cell phone thing. He can't do that no more. You gotta understand about the gimmick. Once you do it one time, you can't do it no more. Okay? He did the cell phone thing. He did the, he done did his drone strikes on certain, the leadership of Iran. Because every time he does a gimmick, he exposes his hand, and then he can't play that card anymore. Dealing with the protests. You see, these last round of protests, they only had a window to make that move when the protest was, in its most intense state. Okay? But then the Lord gave Iran a card to be able to shut down the Starlink, okay, which quelled the protests, and also to fish out, okay, those sleeper cells. So now you don't have that card anymore. The West can't play that card anymore with the sleeper cells and the protests. They did what they did with Maduro. They cut off. China was China. Just listening to something early before I hit the button. But China was buying like 70% of Venezuela oil. And they was helping, Venezuela with their infrastructure. But see now, okay, cut China off from their oil. Well, they had to depend more on Russia and Iran. Okay? Which they just solidified that alliance of the kings of the East. So America keep playing all these cards, and now they don't have too many cards left. You see? They don't have too many cards left to play. They don't have too many more moves to make on the chessboard. Okay, now America, the West, is facing a checkmate at every turn. Every step, every move, is a potential checkmate. So it's a beautiful thing to see these devils, struggling to trying to pull this off, man. Even with the thing in Minneapolis, the ICE situation. Like the crisis actor, he done played that card so much, it doesn't have the effect anymore. Okay? He gonna have to do something else. See, Esau gonna have to really step it up. The Most High got the pressure on Esau. Esau not chilling. Remember, he's weird in his counsel. And the pressure is on this nigga to where he gonna have to step it up, man. Okay, he gonna have to really come with it. He gonna have to set some events off to where he can move the needle towards this new world order, man. And he's trying to do it, in a way. You see that he's been doing the same formula over and over again. But he's gonna have to do something else to really get this thing started. They're gonna have to do something major, because he's not getting the reaction that he wants. All right, with the whole, with these protests. I've been looking at the Minneapolis protests. It might just be me, but it's just been looking so low intense and so fake, and which a lot of this stuff is staged. Some of it's authentic. Okay. But this here, like, it's just extra low intensity. It's just extra stage. It's like, man, this is really terrible, man. Okay? Just me looking at these Minneapolis, so-called, protests and, civil unrest. And, nah, man, this nigga gonna have to do something major, man. Okay? The Most High require more of this nigga, man. Just the Most High requires more of us, in the spirit, on the right hand side. Okay, the Most High is requiring more from this nigga, man. Okay, Esau, you getting a little complacent, man. You gonna have to tighten this shit up, man. You gonna have to do some epic shit to get this shit, get this shit going, man. See, you done used all your gimmicks, over there in the Middle East, all those gimmicks, you done used them up. Now you're going to have to really take some military action, man. Okay? You're going to have to just go on in. Okay? This inflation, you pity-pat with the inflation up and down, nigga, you're going to have to go ahead and crash this dollar, man. You have to go ahead and just really start getting off out here, man. Okay? The Most High requires more out of you, Esau. You don't got complacent, man. You done lost a step, man. Trump low energy. Okay? That nigga need that nigga need to go to the salt cave, Nigga, he's just out of here, man. All these old, these old Edomites, man, you old withered up Edomites, man, y'all got to spark it up, man. Okay, your elites are steady dying off. So y'all devils, you don't have the cards. The hand ain't looking so good. There was a one time when this nigga had all the cards. Okay? But now he's limited. It's one time when this nigga had, a lot of moves on the board. Now he's limited, man. See, this nigga's being cornered. Prophecy is putting this nigga in the corner, man. Okay? So, he just gonna have to wild out. Okay? And then he losing, he constantly losing hands. He lost that, this whole Iran situation, man. He lost that hand. Okay, now the cards are being shuffled and dealt again, and he don't have them cards he had last hand, man. Okay, and every time, hey, we get more cards because everything working in our favor, man. And we're of the elect, man. Everything works in our favor. So we're watching this, man. We're witnessing Esau Edom. In these last days, He's scrambling. So Esau in scramble mode. Okay? You know, you brothers know about sports. You know, Esau not just in the pocket. You know, there's a time when Esau was just in the pocket picking everybody apart. You know? He was just comfortable in the pocket. Now this nigga is scrambling. Okay? Now he's all over the place, man. And he's stretched in. This nigga is stretched in. Okay? There's no way this nigga gonna have you need your full energy to do certain things. Okay? You can't be you see? You can't be brewing tea and chopping down the tree with an axe at the same time, man. Some things require your full energy, man. Okay? And this nigga is all over the place. Cause it's certain things, like this whole thing with Iran, nigga, that's gonna require your full energy, my boy. Okay? You're gonna have to bring your lunch, alright, when you go over there. You see? You trying to go to war with Iran, trying to go to war with niggas, you know, U.S. citizens, okay? You trying to do Navy blockades, trying to build digital infrastructure, the data centers, man, he's stretched in. Okay, this man is stretched extremely thin. You know, and as time goes on, he's gonna get more frustrated. Okay, and he's just gonna go to that sword, man. That's all he got left. As the scripture say, you live by the sword, you perish with the sword. You know, so this nigga, he's gonna wild out with that sword, and he's gonna perish by that sword, man. Okay? The Lord put it to where he gonna have to enforce this thing, man. Okay? Because the scripture say, well, he shall be in straits. You know, in the fullness of his efficiency, he shall be in straits, and every hand of the wicked shall be upon him. Okay, going into the laborers, the workers. You know, because there's an uprising against this devil in the earth, man. Okay, and he's gonna wild out, you know, to get the earth under the control. He's gonna have to see Esau gonna have to throw everything at this, man. Okay, Esau can't, you know, he can't have a marathon mindset anymore. This nigga gonna have to sprint. See, he got to kick it in gear. This nigga gonna have to sprint to try to pull this off, man. To try to throw this new world order up before the return of Yahushua, man. You gonna have to sprint. Okay, time ain't on this nigga's side. You know, and the Lord got us in a beautiful position to where, you know, time ain't a factor for us, man. You know, if we believe that he is, okay, we believe Yahushua, okay, the deliverer, we believe in the resurrection, we got eternity coming. Okay, we got the eternity card, man, which is Yahushua. You know, our deck is full of okay, eternity cards, man. You know, Yahushua the cherished, man. Okay, we got a triumph. We have a triumph over Esau. Okay, we got the trump card. You see? And it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Al-Shah, man. It's a beautiful position the Lord has us in, man, as we can have front row seats to see this nigga just decline, man. The decline of this nigga's empire, man. Okay? You know, he gonna pull out a few things, you know, he likes it like a great athlete, you know, even though You know, they get older and they don't have the step that they used to have. They still have a little glimpse. You know, you might see a play or two where it's like, oh shit. You know, so you're gonna get that out of Esau. You're gonna get, a spark of that, that prime. You know, you get a little spark of it every now and then. A prime Esau. Okay? And even, the devil got shit we haven't seen. He gonna pull some shit out. But really, that's what 2/3 of these people, man. They gotta worry about that shit. This shit is, is amazing to them. When you look at it from a carnal perspective, yeah, this nigga is a god. He's a god of war. He's a god of finance, the god of influence of this world. That's why I say, if our gospel be hid, it's because the gods of this world, this age. But we're not of this world. Okay, you think the cherubs, when they come by and they look at Esau and what he got, because the angels know what this nigga got. You think the angels is going back to the throne and all, man, this nigga got this, man, this nigga got that. Man, I don't know. Then the cherubs is all what this nigga got. The scripture tell you that the Most High is not in awe at anyone. Okay? And then we're his sons, man. Shouldn't be in awe with this nigga. There was a time, we looked at this nigga, but then, as we mature in this thing, man, fuck that nigga Esau, man. And I'm that nigga biggest hater. 2026, I'm that nigga biggest hater, man. That nigga can't do nothing, even the new shit he pulled out. I'm not impressed, nigga. I'm telling you early before you pull that shit out, nigga. I'm not impressed. So yeah, this nigga, he got some shit. And of course, if the Lord not with us, we're done. If the Lord not with us, we're cooked. Okay? But the Lord made a promise to be with a remnant. And that's why daily we fight, hopes to be a part of that remnant. You see? But we're coming into some beautiful times to where, I'm more excited about seeing what the Lord gonna do, what power the Lord gonna show. Okay? Because whatever Esau pull out new, the Lord got something that he gonna pull out to trump it. So, we should be more excited about what the Lord finna do, the power the Lord finna show. The miracles, man. The standard is gonna be lifted, man. What the Lord finna do in the earth, man. Because the power we need to make it through these times is going to be far more impressive than what this devil pull out that we don't know he got, man. Okay? And they're just, hey, we got all the cards, man. Every time we get a new hand, all right, we get more cards in our favor, man. We get a better hand every time. Every time the Most High reshuffle the deck. Okay? We get a better hand every time. So, just wanted to go into that. Something I was meditating on, man. Just, it's been a lot going on. We've been watching it and reporting. So just wanted to go into a spiritual rant, en route, touching on those things. So, Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I'm going to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, Shalom.